till the day I die.
Welcome back to the Jonah and Ben podcast, episode 5800. After last week's episode on Friday, we got some things right, some things wrong. And I'm once again joined by my co-host, the Ben in the Jonah and Ben podcast. Ben.
Last weekend was a disaster for the Red Bulls. It was one of the worst. No, not one of. It was. No, it was not the worst because Columbus. That was much worse watch. But Jesus Christ, that was one of the worst games I've ever watched for this fucking team. It is an embarrassment. When you're playing against a team that can bend the rules backwards, what's the point of competing against those kinds of teams?
And in relevant football, Dortmund stave off PSG, who hit the crossbar / post of woodwork 4 times, 6 times over each leg, pretty incredibly. And do not score. Dortmund with a Mats Hummels header send them through to their first Champions League final in 11 years. And of course, Real Madrid have their dark magic Satanism. That gets them a goal from their super sub, Joselu, whatever, in the 88th and 92nd minute because of it. But who knows what would have happened if the linesman hadn't raised his flag early and the head ref refusing to play through it, which again he could have. He blew the whistle before De Ligt scored what was an onside goal, but the ref and the linesman drew his flag early, and the ref blew it.
They are trained to not raise their flag, so...
And the ref could have played through it, though, if he had actually saw that he was onside, which he was. But the lion's share of the blame should be on the assistant referee, the linesman there.
Yeah.
So we got David versus Goliath, really. Royce in his last game for Dortmund, no pressure. Champions League final against Real Madrid.
It's Real Madrid. They're going to win this.
Probably. I think 90% of the world is rooting for Dortmund and the rest are Real Madrid
It's
fans.
Real Madrid.
It's the Bellingham at Wembley script, it seems like.
Yeah.
More than anything. But maybe Sancho, I doubt it, but Sancho at Wembley script would be kind of funny too. Even though there's a slim chance he makes the England Euro squad. All right, we will do a Champions League final preview episode in the coming weeks, probably a few days before the final. So be excited for that.
That will include the CONCACAF Champions Cup preview as well.
Which we will be live streaming. We will be live reacting to it with feed of the game, as long as CONCACAF or FIFA doesn't strike us down.
It won't be FIFA. Would be
I doubt they
the
won't.
Crew or something.
The Columbus Crew or Monterrey, yeah.
I remember in 2020...
Because they hate when people watch things for free.
No, I remember in 2020, someone was live streaming the actual ESPN broadcast for MLS Cup, Columbus Crew versus Seattle Sounders. It was pretty funny. So...
Just the game itself?
Yeah, no, someone was streaming it. That's how I watched.
Yeah, and we will be doing something similar with the webcam facing the TV. So be excited for that. And we will, I would say around May 28th would be our date for that.
Yep. In less important European news, we will be seeing an Atalanta-Leverkusen final in the Europa League.
God, I am rooting for Leverkusen to lose. Again, it seems they might have more Satanism in their club than Real in the way they have scored 17 goals after the 90th minute. It's ridiculous. And their invincible treble run continues. It really is astonishing. So I'm rooting for Atalanta. And if Leverkusen do pull it off, you really can't argue against them being one of the greatest sides of all time, which is pretty remarkable.
And then in even less important European news, we've got a Fiorentina-Olympiacos final in the Conference League.
Definitely rooting for the Greek side. I know Fiorentina lost in the final last year to West Ham, which was heartbreaking. I believe this year's final, where is it?
I don't know.
Is it in Azerbaijan?
No, it's not.
I know the Europa League final is at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin, which is a very gorgeous stadium. You could have just whatever.
It's in Athens, so it's a home game.
Oh wow, that is
Well-
what a script that is for Olympiacos.
Though it's at Olympiacos, I think the rivals' stadium.
Still though, it's such an easy,
it's
such an easy trip for
Greece
them
is such a small
compared
country.
to the Fiorentina fans.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm still rooting for Olympiacos. I can't remember if ever a Greek team won a European trophy, even if it is the Minnow Trophy, like the Conference League.
They have never won the Olympiacos.
So this is their first opportunity. I'm rooting for all the underdogs, really, for Atalanta, Fiorentina, Atalanta, Olympiacos, and of course Dortmund, which again, David versus Goliath. There.
Yep.
You're not going to say who you're rooting for?
I don't have a dog in this fight, so no.
You're not rooting for anyone. You don't have even the slight. Okay. Do you have a dog in the CCC final? Like the slightest of rooting interest.
I had a little bit of a rooting interest for Columbus, but
Who are you rooting for in the final then?
Columbus.
Why?
You
can explain.
Just because I don't want a League MX team to win. It's simple as that.
I'm definitely rooting for Monterrey because I don't like Columbus.
It's Pachuca.
Yes. Pachuca. Oh, Pacheco. I like Pacheco.
Yeah, but I'm
rooting for Pacheco.
Yeah, but we have to see them in person in July.
Okay, and we'll root for the Red Bulls then.
Yeah.
It's different. And we'll do our live stream reaction to that. Any other news? We can switch topics pretty seamlessly and smoothly.
You want to just review last weekend's slate of MLS matches or no?
Go for it.
All right, so San Jose defeated Los Angeles FC 3-1, a shock win for the Earthquakes, with Rodriguez scoring, Pellegrino, and a Denny Buenga owned goal for the Earthquakes, and Christian Oliveira scoring for LAFC.
Pretty important win for San Jose over their rivals.
Yep. Right. Toronto beat Dallas 3-1 with Federico Bernardeschi scoring a brace. Matty Longstaff, is that his first goal in MLS? I gotta check that.
I just got my Diet Coke.
And
0.
Sam Hunkwa scoring for Dallas. And that was, I'm correct, that was Matty Longstaff's first goal in MLS.
Toronto FC's old washed-up Italian guys, deliver. They've had a great start to this campaign after being one of the worst teams ever last year. So I'm happy for them. Even though the Leafs once again lost in Game 7 at TD Garden. But they have Toronto FC to bank on.
And DC United played Philadelphia, ending up in a 2-2 draw. And Christian Dahome and Jacob Merle scoring for DC, and Alejandro Bedoya and Jack McGlynn scoring for Philadelphia.
Yeah. I don't like either of those teams, so a draw seems fitting. Game was in DC. Yeah, it was at the nation's capital.
Field.
Yes, it was.
I
don't
know
DC
if this is
blowing a 2-0 lead. Also, Troy Lessane's side could not hold it.
I don't know if this is an upset, but Atlanta United lost to Minnesota 2-1.
At home, I'd say it's an upset.
Benz,
sure.
With
at the Benz. Okay.
Kervin Arriaga scoring.
It's one of the nicest stadiums in the country, but yes.
Tanya Olawasi for Minnesota, and Saba, I can't pronounce that, scoring for... You can pronounce this? Come
on. Tani Oluwasi.
No, it's the Atlanta player.
Saba Lobsen Hindidietse.
Yeah, no, that I can't pronounce that.
I think I said something racist. All right, keep going.
Orlando lost to
I read the wrong name.
Cincinnati 1-0 at home with Lucho Acosta scoring in like the 18th second of the game. It was
damn.
And then
2 red cards in that game.
Yeah, Rodrigo Schlegel got a Dogso red card for
professional foul last man. Yeah.
And Brett Halsey, I don't know how he got a red card.
It says time waste thing. That's pretty sad to go out. But hey, Cincinnati, in a game that you picked as your match of the week.
Yeah.
There's only 1-0.
Yeah. Charlotte, they beat Portland? Really? And Nikola Pekovic and Enzo Capetti, who has just been announced he's leaving to the designated players going back to Argentina. So
interesting.
He is leaving MLS.
That's a good way to go out, I suppose. Do we want to review every game?
No, we're just reviewing.
Just do the important games. I mean, does anyone really care about Nashville, Montreal?
Not really.
I know Nashville won 4-1, but that's 2 middle-of-the-road teams, mediocre. Congrats to Sam Sturridge for scoring a hat-trick. Congrats to Zimmerman for scoring a brace. One for Nashville, one for the Montreal Impact.
Chicago lost to New England Revolution at home, 1-0 with Thomas Shankly scoring for the Revs.
Chicago struggling.
With the former MLS Cup rematch of Real Salt Lake Sporting Kansas City, the Salt Lake won 1-0 with Chicho Arango scoring in the 81st minute.
Clutch goal by Arango.
New York City lost 2-0 at home at Citi Field against the Colorado Rapids with Rafael Navarro and Cole Bassett scoring for the Rapids.
And who could have predicted that but Jonah? I got it right. I knew it would be 2-0. I didn't get the goal scorers right, but that officially gave me the win because of the double points from last week's from our prediction standings. I won last week, so right now it's 1-0 Jonah.
As we're heading
for the
into
2024 MLS season.
Yep. As we're heading into rivalry week, we've got some better matchups coming up so far. Starting Saturday's slate of games, it is Toronto FC at home against New York City at 7:30 on Saturday.
Not sure how this is a rivalry match besides the fact that Sean Johnson, the longtime City player, is now at Toronto.
It's not. It's just what it's showing up first on the slate of games.
Who are you going for in this game?
Toronto
have won 3 in a row. New York City, of course, coming off that loss on a rainy day in the Bronx. It was at the Bronx.
Queens.
It was in the City Field, yes. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Toronto victory. They're
Who do you have
hot.
scoring?
Man, I don't know. Do we have to pick who scores?
Usually,
Fine.
we did that last time.
Fine, I go for Casillas, Mailula, Derek Etienne, Brace.
Etienne's on Toronto now.
Mailula and Etienne Jr. And for NYCFC, I'll go with the Algerian Bakrar.
Okay. I've got Bernadeschi. He's been on a tear lately.
Yeah,
he scored a wonder goal last game.
Assist,
so he'll score.
Assist.
And I got to go with Keenan Park scoring for New York. And next game here showing up for me is...
You want to do every game or the important games?
Most of these look good.
Well, Charlotte Nashville's kind of trash.
We're going to skip that. Montreal.
Just do whatever you think is right.
We've got Philadelphia, Orlando. That is it.
2 teams you hate.
Last year, that is a cracker of the game.
This year, not as much.
Yeah.
Orlando are struggling.
But Seattle won at Subaru Park, so anyone can win at Chester this year.
All right, so what do you think?
I got to go with...
What you say?
2-2 draw, but it's not a short... It's like Orlando, they give up a penalty in like the 92nd minute. It's going to be where they choke this game away.
You stole my pick, except I'm going to go for a more boring selection. I'm going to go 1-1. So we both say draw.
Yeah.
Next.
Yep. The New York Red Bulls take on the New England Revolution at home this coming Saturday.
Red Bulls haven't won in their last 4 games, 3 straight draws, and then, of course, that horrible loss to Miami. But they still have 10 more points than 15th place New England, who have 7 points, but are coming.
So bad.
But they're coming off a victory. Even though the Red Bulls haven't won since 5 games ago, I'm going to go for them for a 2-0 victory.
It's New England. They're not going. If they score, it's going to be through Shankly. That's what it feels like because he's got 2 goals in his last 2 games against Chicago and Miami for the Revolution. And
we have John Freeman as referee.
Yep, Freeman's
if that means anything to you.
Last time he reffed the Red Bulls game was a 1-0 win for the Red Bulls against DC United at home in August of 2023.
Free kick by Tolkien. Yes. So what do you say? What do you go for?
I gotta go for a 3-1 win.
Ice goal scorers. Of course, last game it was Dante Van Zier who scored the first goal, and Forsberg with the last goal in a game that featured 8 goals. I'm going to go for a Lewis Morgan, assisted by Tolkien. I don't know how it happens. I just think that is what happens. And a Sean Nealis late header, 85th minute off a corner.
Yeah. I got Frankie Amaya scoring in this game. Wiki gets the game-winning goal in this game. And I got to go with the rare pick, Kyle Duncan scoring in the 89th minute. No, he's going to score. He's got to get a goal at some point.
He won't.
He's going to score eventually.
Never in a million years.
I think Carlos gets a penalty save in this game. They're going to give up a penalty. That's what it feels like.
That's your prediction.
And
I think they keep a clean sheet, 2-0.
Shankly stays hot. He's going to
are not good.
He's going to score in the 36th minute or something like that. He's going to score in this game.
Of course, Red Bulls versus Revs, 2 of the original MLS teams.
Yep. Next up on the slate is Atlanta United versus DC United. Two teams I absolutely have so much hatred for. It is absurd.
I don't hate Atlanta. I just don't like their star player. Personally, who's Atlanta's manager? Do you know? I have no
Gonzalo Pineda, I think, is.
Well, I
his
don't know
first name.
who he is, but Gonzalo Pineda's his first name.
No, I think Pineda. I know
Pineda would be his last name.
Yeah, that is his last
like
name.
Michael, like the pitcher.
I know.
Anyway,
I'm right. He is Gonzalo Pineda.
Yeah, you
I was
said
just
Gonzalo Pineda was his first name.
I know.
Anyway, I'm gonna go for. This game is quite boring. I'll go for a 1-0 Atlanta one. Almada free kick, 71th minute, 71st. Jeez.
I got to go with an
Gotta
Atlanta
edit that
2-0.
out.
Jean de Gomez and the Greek guys.
I know which game you deliberately skipped. I'm not going to let you do it because it features by far the two most famous players in the league, Montreal, Miami.
Oh, so we're talking about Mathieu Chonier and Jonathan Suwa.
No, we are not. I mean, sure, yeah, why not? I thought we were talking about Joel Waterman. Anyway.
Joel Waterman.
Anyway, Miami traveled to France, Diet France. Of course, Miami with 24 points and Montreal with only 12. But I think the away game to Montreal is going to be difficult, especially after coming off a home game. You're going from hot, sunny, beautiful Miami to cold Montreal, which is, it's an okay city. I'm going to go for a 1-1. Messi penalty, 80th minute, and I don't know any Montreal attackers. So
I don't think there's really going to be that many Messi fans at this game. I think Montreal is going to have a good home crowd in this one.
I think so, too.
Yeah. But I got to go with...
Also, because French people hate Messi.
A 1-3 Miami win. It's Miami.
Moving on to the All-Ohio Hell is Real Derby. What do you think, Ben?
Columbus, they're coming off one of the most impressive wins an MLS side has pulled off in the CONCACAF Champions Cup with a semifinal second leg win at Monterrey, 3-1, which is that's something you can't really think. It's an insane result for an MLS side to pull off.
Sure it is.
In Mexico, 3-1, that is absurd. And then Cincinnati, they're coming off a 1-0 win against Orlando at Orlando. So
both teams coming off away win victories. So who do you got?
I got to go Columbus.
One of the most fiercest rivalries in the league. You're going for Columbus?
I'm going for Columbus because Cucho, Diego Rossi, Darlington Nagbe. Look at all these stars they have. They're the best built team in the league. They have the best manager. They're going to win the Champions Cup if they're going to win it. They're the best team in this league.
Personally, yeah, you think they are? I'm going to go for a 2-2. I think with the amount of pressure in this game is nationally televised. I don't see either team really pulling this out. I think we have a late goal, maybe a 93rd minute goal by either star player, and I think it finishes 2-2 in the Hell is Real Derby. Two good teams, unfortunately.
I got to go with a 3-1 victory for the Crew, with Cucho getting a brace, and then Mo Farsi chipping in one for the Crew as well. And then for the Garys, I got to go with DeAndre Yedlin. I think that would be his first goal for the club, so I'm going to go with Yedlin. For
Cincy, I have Steven Jimenez scoring, and Ubina Nwobodo. And for Columbus, I have Alexandru Matan and Yaboa scoring.
Yep. Moving on next for the start for one of 3 of the 8:30 games this Saturday. It is St. Louis versus Chicago, which is supposed to be a rivalry.
It's a much better rivalry in hockey and baseball, not in football, obviously.
Last 2 times the teams met they have never met before.
It feels like the very first time because it is in St. Louis.
St. Louis is coming off a 0-0 draw against the Houston Dynamo, and Chicago Fire is coming off a 1-0 loss to the New England Revolution.
Or Chicago with 0 wins in the last 4. St. Louis 1 win in the last 5. Both teams struggling. St. Louis with 13 points on the season. Chicago with only 10.
This has a 0-0 draw written all over it.
I'm gonna pick against you, and I'm gonna go for a St. Louis 2-1 victory. I think St. Louis will want to establish themselves in this fake rivalry. With Hugo Cupers scoring. Whatever. And for St. Louis, I think a Klaus brace, 2 penalties.
We're going to skip the Kansas City game.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And then move on to Dallas, Austin, Cope Tejas.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Cringe.
With last time these two sides met, I got to check this. Just give me a moment. Was March 30th with Austin FC taking a 2-1 win with Eugene Ansa scoring for Dallas and Julio Cascante and Diego Rubio scoring for Austin.
Interesting enough that they've already played each other. This is already the last time they'll play each other this season, barring Leagues Cup or playoffs. Who did you say won the first meeting?
Austin did 2-1.
Ooh, in Austin. Now we flip it back to Dallas, who are dreadful this year, who have 1 win in their last 5 and 8 points on the season. I think it'll be a repeat. And actually, I think Dallas pull away more this time. I think a 4-1 victory for Dallas.
That is, I have to disagree with you. Austin hasn't lost a game since April 14th.
Oh no, I meant for Austin. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Dallas. I was looking at their logo.
Ah.
Like I was talking about how much they've been struggling, and then I picked them. No, I'm picking Austin 4-1.
That makes much more sense. Austin,
because it's what I meant to say.
They're gonna win this game. That's what it looks like. Got to go with.
Are you gonna pick
2-0 victory with a Martin Pash own goal and Alexander Ring 78th minute header.
All
right, moving on to one of the two 10:30 games on the Saturday.
Skipping the Rapids Earthquakes.
Of course, that is the worst game of this weekend.
Yeah, it's one of the worst games of the season. All right.
We're moving on to Galaxy Real Salt Lake with Salt Lake coming off a 4-2 loss against New Mexico United last night in the U.S. Open Cup. With
high scoring.
Yeah, that was. I got to check who scored for.
Of course, Salt Lake have been the second best team in the MLS this season with 21 points through 11 games. So that shock upset really is shocking to the former Troy Lesesne-led club. Galaxy aren't so bad either. They're only 2 points worse than Salt Lake through 11 games. Of course, they only have a 4 GD compared to Salt Lake's 9 games in Carson. I'm going to go for a Salt Lake 2-1 victory. I think away again with 3 straight victories. I think they'll make it 4 against, 5-time MLS champions.
This has like a 3-3 draw written on it, so
I'm gonna go for an Axel K goal.
the 15-year-old.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, and for a Galaxy, Gabriel Peck, obviously.
I got
Pecks.
For Salt Lake. I got a brace for Moon Boy and Chicharango chipping in 1. And then for the Galaxy, Maya Yoshida, Ricky Puig, and Joseph Pansel.
Is that our last of the Saturday?
Nope, we still got one more.
Oh.
Which is Los Angeles FC versus the Vancouver Whitecaps at BMO Stadium. It is a playoff rematch from last season where LAFC won in 2 games. It was round 1. The first game in that series ended up 5-2 LA, and then the second game, Vancouver also lost. It was a 1-0 loss for the Whitecaps.
So who you got winning?
I got to go with LAFC. 2-1. I got to go with Mateus Bogusz goal in the 37th minute, and then a Denny Boenga goal in the 89th. And then for the Vancouver Whitecaps, I got Ryan Gauld scoring from the spot in the 62nd minute.
Ooh, interesting. Those are some interesting picks. For me, this is the late game. I definitely won't be watching. I'll probably be asleep by the time this game finishes. I'm going to go for Damir Krelach goal. Oh, yes. I have a Vancouver 2-1 victory. I have Damir Krelach scoring 1 and Ryan Gauld penalty. And for LAFC, I have a Kai Kamara header and... Oh, wait, that's just it. A Kai Kamara
You got the old man scoring, huh?
I have both old men scoring. The Croatian guy's 35 for Vancouver.
And for the final match of match day 12 slate of games, we got the Portland Timbers versus Seattle Sounders in the Cascadian Cup.
Interesting.
Last time these two sides played was September 2nd, 2023, where it was a 2-2 draw at Lumen Field with Raul Diaz and Leo Chu scoring for the Sounders, and for the Timbers it was Darren Aspria and Alvander scoring.
Of course, this game is on Fox, and it's the lone Sunday game. However, both teams have identical records, and that's not a good thing. They're about 2-4-5, and I think
I thought the Timbers were
and
better
I think
than
they'll
that.
stay identical. I think it's 2-2 between these Northwestern sides.
I got to go with the 1-1. Oh, voice crack. 1-1 draw.
That wasn't a voice. Yeah, whatever. He stuttered. For Seattle, I have Daniel Musovsky brace, and for Portland, a Vander goal and Kamal Miller header. I can't believe Kamal Miller's only 26.
He's only 26.
I thought
he looks like 29.
He feels like 36.
But for the Timbers, I've got Jonathan Rodriguez / Cabecito scoring, and for Seattle Sounders, I gotta go with Joao Paulo if he's healthy. I don't know if he's healthy. I haven't been watching the Sounders this season.
For good reason. They're 2-4-5.
Yep. You want to move on to Wednesday's slate of games?
Not really.
Well, it's got to be part of this podcast. So
I thought we were just doing this weekend.
Nah, we're doing both, and we're doing Wednesdays as well.
Why?
Because we got a midweek. We got this many midweek games. We got to include it.
So let's just do another podcast Monday.
No.
What? Well, then then let's just not include the Wednesday ones. Do you want this to be 35 minutes?
Kind of.
How many games is this? You want to do another 12, 13 games?
Well, we're going to skip over that one.
Oh, my.
We're going to skip over
goodness gracious me. But before we get to Wednesday's games, the one huge Premier League game this week, you have the two of the teams with the three most trophies in England. You have Manchester United hosting Arsenal in a potential title decider. Not the way United fans would have liked, as they're 8th and are facing their first season without Europe since David Moyes led them to 7th in 2013-14. But I'm going to go for an Arsenal 3-2 victory. I think this game will have fireworks. I think Rashford will score one. I think Fernandes will score a penalty. And Arsenal will get a late 92nd minute winner from Jesus, saving them on May 11th.
How the fuck is Chelsea in a European spot?
Well, they won 3 in their last 5. They won their last 2. And look
I
at Spurs. They've lost their last 4 in a row.
Yeah, but it's Spurs. It's fucking Spurs.
And for Arsenal, I have a Havertz header. Zinchenko cross that accidentally goes in because Onana's terrible. And Kai Havertz penalty in the 93rd minute.
I gotta go with a 1-1 draw with Van de Beek's not on Man U anymore.
Van de Beek? You're stuck in 2020.
Casemiro and
Casemiro was horrible.
There's
a reason they conceded 4
Onana own
Crystal
goal.
Palace. Oh, wow. Of course, Fulham, a City go away to Fulham where they haven't lost in over a decade, so they're not going to lose. I think they both win this weekend. All right, so moving on to Wednesday's games.
The first...
we had to touch on something outside of America.
But the opener of Wednesday's slate of games, we've got a Eastern Conference final rematch of 2 of the last 3 years. It's Philadelphia Union versus New York City at Subaru Park at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a good game, that.
Of course, in every New York-Philadelphia matchup, I would always root for the New York team, except for this instance. These teams, I don't like either of them. But I'm going to have to pick Philadelphia 3-1 victory. New York City aren't very good. I know they've done well to start the year, but I think they lose.
But those were all home games.
Again, they're just playing the teams in front of them. Now they're playing an away day against the Philadelphia Union. That's why I think they'll lose.
I agree with you.
Okay, what do you pick? What's your score?
I gotta go with 2-0.
I'm going for a Gazdag hat trick.
All open play?
2 penalties, 1 left-footed tap-in.
That sounds like Gazdag type shit to do. So I got Mikhail Uwa scoring for the Union and Jack McGlynn.
Are you shocked I had a Gazdag hat trick?
No.
All right, moving on.
We got the Wilfred Nancy rematch against his former club at Stade Saputo at 7:30 Eastern. So this game's going to be in Montreal. Last time these two sides played each other, give me a second to pull this up. It was April 27th. It was a 0-0 draw at Lower.com Field in Columbus.
Of course, between these two teams, anything can happen. Columbus, of course, had that great victory, as you mentioned earlier, and then they have the game against Cincinnati. I think this is a bit of a trap game where they're not 100% in it, especially after the intensity of their 2 matchups prior. I'm going to go for a Montreal 2-0 victory.
I
over
gotta
one of the best teams.
I gotta go with a 1-1 draw with Matthew Chouanier.
I've been very kind to Montreal this podcast.
You have been, and Yaya Boa scoring for the Crew.
Okay, moving
Moving on to the Florida Derby. It is Orlando City versus Inter Miami, 7:30 Eastern.
Michi Orlov with a minor.
Last time that matchup happened, it was a massacre at Chase Stadium. It was, if I recall, it was 5-0 Miami with Luis Suarez scoring his first goal for the Herons that game.
The Herons, okay. So who do you have winning?
It's got to be Miami.
Who are they playing?
Orlando.
Oh, this is an interesting match. Of course, last game was on Fox, the first nationally broadcasted game for this circus team. And of course, Miami won that game very easily. Orlando were
It was one of the worst defensive performances I've ever seen.
Dreadful. But I think they win again, Miami.
Yeah.
Of course, I have them drawing with Montreal, but I think they win this game 3-2 against.
I gotta
maybe
go.
I'm gonna say 4-2 actually for Miami. Brace from Suarez, goal, penalty from Messi, and I don't know who's that young American they have as a winger.
Gomez.
No, Gomez.
Gomez is Paraguayan.
I don't care.
I got to go with a 3-1 Miami win. Hio shall not be named. Hat-trick and Facundo Torres scoring.
You're such a hooter. Moving on.
Of course I am. We've got the Atlantic Cup with DC United facing the New York Red Bulls at Audi Field with Troy Lesesne's revenge game pending. Last time these two sides met, it was a 3-5 DC United loss with the New York Red Bulls winning at Audi Field in a tropical storm. It was a really entertaining match.
It was very windy, very rainy, and the Red Bulls benefited after blowing. If it was 3-3 at halftime, game finished 5-3. Benteke first half hat trick, and yet his team lost tragically for him. This game again, Lesesne's revenge game. I would love to pick a Red Bulls game. Red Bulls win here. I really would, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say 1-1. With a Forsberg goal, and for DC. Hold on, let you speak.
I mean, you can't stop Benteke headers. There's no stopping Benteke. No one in this league is better at headers than him. That's just a fact. He is the best player in this league for that.
Okay, but what's your score?
Scoreline, I gotta go for. I really like this. A 4-1 New York Red Bulls win.
Whoa.
With Omir's not on the team anymore.
And for DC, I have Christian Fletcher scoring.
Who?
This guy.
The fuck is that?
I don't know. He's played once, and that was in the League's Cup. That's what I have scoring.
The fuck is that?
He played for Swansea U21, and he was a goal machine there. Look at that, back-to-back hat tricks for Swansea. He's going to be next up. Write this down in history. Christian Fletcher is going to be the next great player.
No, but for the New York Red Bulls, I got John Tolkien scoring a free kick, a Morgan brace, and then, you know what? Sean Neal's header.
Whoa.
And then for DC, Christian Benteke header.
All right. Moving on.
Fuck DC United.
Wow.
We've got a rematch between a game that happened on April 20th. We've got Cincinnati versus Atlanta United. Last time these two sides played, it was a 1-2 Cincinnati win with Thiago Amato scoring for the Five Stripes, and for the Garys it was Luca Oriano and Lucho Acosta.
This is an interesting game between two teams who have recent success. I think Cincinnati at home in Cincy, Ohio, I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory for them. I
got to disagree with you. It's going to be an Atlanta 2-1 win. Got to have the Greek guy and Amada scoring. And then for the Garys, I'm going to have Matt Miazga scoring. Next game up is another Copa Tejas matchup. It is Austin FC versus the Houston Dynamo. Last time these two sides met was... Give me a moment.
I'll give you 5.
It was actually 2 weeks ago. It's for some reason not showing up. What was the score? It was a 1-0 Austin FC win at Shell Energy Stadium. It was a Houston home loss, surprisingly enough. So, going into Q2 Stadium in Austin, Texas for this matchup, I got to go with Austin 1-0 win once again.
Interesting prediction. These teams, I feel like they're playing. Okay, Austin versus Dallas. I like that. Hold on. Austin recently playing Dallas, and then they face Houston in back-to-back game days. I think Austin will shock everyone and lose 3-0 to Houston at home.
Wow,
With an
that is that's
I
a
have
bold prediction.
take. I have some hot takes.
I had a 1-0 Austin win. So
Wow.
who do you have scoring for the Dynamo?
Give me a second. There's so many great players to choose from on the May the 15th. This game at the Q2 Stadium, and for Houston, I have Gabriel Siegel, Adalberto
Wait.
Carrasquilla,
I thought you were talking.
and Steve Clark.
That's
Tate
the
Schmidt. Tate Schmidt.
No, Griffin Dorsey.
He gets an assist.
Okay, and I had a 1-0 Austin
I just saw
win.
a guy who was 38.
So I got to go with the designated player, Sebastian Driussi, scoring for the Broccoli.
Interesting.
Moving on, we've got a St. Louis LAFC game on at 8:30 Eastern. Last time these two sides played, give me a moment to see what the score was.
I'll give you 4.
It was a 0-0 at City Park in St. Louis, Missouri. These two sides, St. Louis have been having a good season compared to their previous. LA, they're on a little bit of a decline, but it's still LAFC. You can never doubt them. They
Seems
back-to-back MLS Cup finalists, so I got to go with the LAFC 3-1 win with Klaus scoring for St. Louis, and then for LAFC, I've got Denny Boying a brace, and then Ryan Hollingshead header.
I'm going to go with a way more boring score and have a LAFC 1-0 win with a Boeing penalty. The 88th minute. If you only could see our reaction. This is audio only.
All right. Moving on, we've got a surprisingly interesting Minnesota.
I've been impressed by Alex Wenberg in these playoffs.
Versus Los Angeles Galaxy. With last time these two sides played was, give me a second, October 7th, 2023 with what was that game?
I hope we don't get copyright stricken for the Jeopardy theme song.
No, but the last time these two sides met, it was a Minnesota United 5-2 win on October the 7th, 2023 with, give me another second to see who scored for that, for the Loons and the Galaxy. Pookie scored a poker in that game, and Dotson also scored for the Loons with Tyler Boyd and Joveljic scoring for LA Galaxy.
What a high-scoring game that was. Of course, Minnesota sports are thriving right now. I'm gonna have a bit. I don't know how Minnesota have been performing this season, but I'm gonna go for them to have a 3-1 victory over the Galaxy.
The Loons have been having a pretty good season with their new head coach Eric Ramsey.
Good for them. Who do you have winning?
Minnesota 2-0 with Pookie, and then Emmanuel Reynoso is still in Argentina, so I gotta have Halong or whatever Bongi, one of those two, scoring for the Loons.
Going to the next game.
We've got
how many games do we have left?
Skip. Last game we're going to.
So one game. All right, and it's Real Salt Lake versus Seattle Sounders.
At America First Field, Seattle fans' least favorite stadium.
Is it actually? Oh, name, yes, because they hate having families. Yes. Because they're all single millennials who love going to Disney World.
Of course.
All right.
Are
you just gonna type profusely?
Of course.
Type is hard and fat. Okay, never mind. That was pause.
I gotta see what the last time these two sides met.
All right.
I've been doing that.
Yeah, and I'll give you all day.
Last time these two sides met was in the League's Cup last season, where Real Salt Lake won 3-0 at home against the Sounders with Ruben scoring, Chicharito, and Jefferson Severino, who is no longer on RSL, winning that game comfortably 3-0.
Interesting prediction. I think Salt Lake. I go for a 2-2 draw here. I think
That
Seattle.
wasn't my prediction, Jonah. That was the last game they played.
I go for a 2-2 prediction. Seattle, I think, will trail 2-0, and then they have two goals in between the 70th and 80th minute, and everyone thinks, oh, they're going to win. And they don't, but, it's still a competitive fight back to draw. I know, an away game to Salt Lake
I've got to go with
City.
RSL 3-0 win with a Moon Boy hat trick.
That is crazy. All right, so those are our predictions for Major League Soccer this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, and then on our Wednesday slate, where we have 13 games, 26 out of the 29 playing.
Fuck DC United.
Still got another minute, then.
Rangers suck.
All right, yeah, so this is going to be our 1 minute talking about other sports. Currently, the Rangers are playing the Hurricanes. Rangers lead the series 2-0 after not so dominant, but it could have gone either way. Double overtime victory over the Hurricanes, where the Rangers eked it out on a power play in double overtime. Currently, the Hurricanes are holding a 1-0 lead with a Jake Gensel tip-in goal. Who do you think wins this game?
I hope the Canes, but that feels
do you
disgusting
think?
coming out of my mouth.
Okay, but who do you think? Just
The
pick.
Canes.
Take a pick.
They're winning 1-0 currently in this game.
And they have 14 shots in goal to the Rangers 5. Or is that a 6?
That's a 6, Jonah.
That is a 6. With 4:30 left in the period. I'm also going to go for a Kane. I mean, when else are we going to have the opportunity to have our non-soccer, football, whatever moment? So I'm going to go for a Canes victory, but I think the Rangers win the series in 6.
This series is so disgusting for me. I hate this. I fucking hate when these two teams play.
All right, so what do you think about Nucks Oilers? Nucks win game 1? Surprising, I know.
I hate large fan bases.
Okay, so who do you think wins the series?
Canucks.
In how many games?
6.
What do you Avs Stars. How many games?
Stars in 7.
Avs in 5. And Cats Bees.
Bees in 7.
All right, close us out.
Fuck DC United.
You are horrible at fucking closing!